Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by rolling hills and lush green fields, there lived a farmer named Hari. Hari was known far and wide for his dedication to farming. He believed that a perfect field, without a single weed or wildflower, would yield the best crops. Every morning, before the sun even rose, he would be out in his fields, carefully tending to each plant, removing anything that didn't belong. Hari's farm was his pride and joy. He grew wheat, rice, and vegetables with great care, using the best seeds and the purest water from a nearby stream. His crops were healthy and strong, but there was one thing that always troubled him: the wildflowers. No matter how hard he tried, these tiny, colorful flowers would sprout between his crops. Bright yellow, soft purple, and deep red wildflowers would peek out from the soil, ruining what he believed was his perfect field. Hari spent hours every day pulling them out, only to find new ones appearing the next morning. "This is unacceptable," Hari grumbled. "These wildflowers ruin the beauty of my field. They take away the nutrients meant for my crops." His neighbors often told him to let the flowers be, but Hari wouldn't listen. "Perfection needs effort," he would say. "I want my farm to be the best in the village." One sunny afternoon, while Hari was busy pulling out the wildflowers, a wandering monk named Sadhan came to the village. The monk traveled from place to place, teaching people about the wisdom of life. Dressed in simple robes, with a kind and gentle smile, he observed Hari's frustration from a distance. Curious, Sadhan walked up to Hari and asked, "Farmer, why do you look so troubled?" Hari wiped the sweat off his forehead and sighed. "These wildflowers, sir, they keep growing in my field no matter how hard I try to remove them. They are useless and ruin my crops." The monk smiled and looked at the field, admiring the colorful wildflowers. "Why do you think they are useless?" he asked gently. Hari frowned. "They don't belong here. My goal is to have a perfect farm, without any weeds or unnecessary things." Satan nodded thoughtfully. "May I stay in your field for a while?" he asked. "Perhaps I can show you something valuable." Though puzzled, Hari agreed. For the next few days, Sadan stayed in the village and helped Hari on his farm. He watched Hari pluck out the wildflowers one by one, only to see them return the next morning. One evening, after a long day of work, Sadan invited Hari to sit with him by the field. The monk pointed to the wildflowers that had grown again. "Hari," he said, "tell me, have you ever stopped to look at these flowers closely?" Hari, confused, shook his head. "Why should I? They're just weeds." Sadan smiled. "Look at their colors, their shapes, the way they sway in the breeze. They are part of nature, just like your crops. They bring beauty and balance to the land. Have you noticed how the bees and butterflies come to these flowers?" Hari was silent. He had never thought about it that way. The monk continued, "Every plant has a purpose, even if we don't see it immediately. These flowers protect the soil, attract pollinators, and add life to your field. Nature does not seek perfection, Hari. It seeks harmony." Hari listened carefully, feeling a small shift in his thoughts. The next day, instead of pulling out the wildflowers, Sadhan asked Hari to let them stay for a while. "Give them a chance," he said. "Observe how they live with your crops." Reluctantly, Hari agreed. Days passed, and to his surprise, he noticed something interesting. The wildflowers attracted bees and butterflies, which, in turn, helped pollinate his crops. The soil around the flowers remained moist and healthy, and the bright colors added a certain beauty to his field that he had never appreciated before. One morning, as Hari walked through his fields, he saw children picking the wildflowers to make garlands. Some villagers even used them for medicine and decoration. For the first time, he smiled at the sight of the once hated wildflowers. Sadan approached him and asked, "What do you see now, Hari?" Hari sighed and said, "I see that these flowers are not useless. They have their place in the world, just like my crops. Maybe I was too focused on perfection to see their beauty." Sadan smiled. "Exactly, my friend. Sometimes our desire for control blinds us to the beauty of life's imperfections. Just as in life, we must learn to accept things that come our way instead of constantly fighting against them." From that day on, Hari's perspective changed. He no longer pulled out the wild flowers in frustration. Instead, he allowed them to grow alongside his crops, understanding that they were part of the natural order. He realized that true perfection lay in balance, not control.